and welcome to Wellness Wednesday, where I give you tips, ideas, and encouragement on how you can live a love-filled and healthy life. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Ana Maria, and today I'm going to be sharing with you why and how to start a journaling practice. Now, journaling has been the number one tool I have developed to improve my well-being. I began journaling a few years ago when I was going through a really difficult time, and it really became a lifeline for me. I began to journal to just get out a lot of my anxieties and thoughts and feelings and just try to reconnect with myself, and also to take time to just honor myself and to notice the good parts in my day, because it seemed like there weren't so many. And when I ended a journaling practice with what I was grateful for, I noticed that I could go to sleep with more peace of mind and with a smile on my face. So journaling has given me so much, and it has allowed me to discover my internal landscape and get in touch with my thoughts and feelings and emotions, and has really allowed me to process through them. Journaling has equipped me with the ability to work through difficult events and challenging situations with proactivity rather than reactivity. Journaling has also improved my self-love because I've gotten to know myself and built self-trust, and it has also improved my relationships. I have been able to get to know myself, as I have said, and that in turn has allowed me to open up more space for others and to communicate my needs and feelings and emotions more. So journaling is a powerful, powerful tool, and I think for anybody who wants to improve their self-love or just get to know themselves or to carve out time to really honor themselves, journaling is an absolute must. Now, there's the why, but how do you actually start a journaling practice? I remember when I started, I felt so awkward writing down my thoughts and feelings and emotions, and I noticed that I would censor myself, or I would fix my grammar, or I would feel really self-conscious about what I would write, and I would judge what I would write, and this prohibited me from really gaining the most from my journaling practice. And I also just didn't really know my voice yet. I didn't know what to write about. Do I write about what I did in my day? Do I write about what I want to do later on? Do I write about my past trauma? It was all, I felt so awkward, and it was like there was so much inside of me that needed to be let out, but I didn't know where to begin, and I didn't really know my own voice. And so these tips should help you find clarity in how to actually get journaling, how to find your voice, and also just how to make it consistent and really gain the most from your journaling practice. So the first tip I have for you is to play with the medium and find the right frequency for you. And what I mean by play with medium, I mean, what are you actually going to be writing in? So I personally love traditional journals. I love the process of just going and finding beautiful journals that I can carry with me, and I have a very particular taste. I love color, I love different types of material. This is leather, this is like a poofy fabric. I love patterns. I notice that I love pages that are completely blank. I do not like lines because it makes me feel really restricted, but I've learned this through trial and error. I've bought, composition book, I've tried typing in my computer, I've tried just regular notebooks with lines, I've tried spiral notebooks, I don't like them. So play with the medium, and this is part of the fun in individualizing it. This will make your journal practice more enjoyable and more approachable and make you more excited to do it. Christian, on the other hand, loves to use his computer and just types, but that's very suited to his personality. He's all about efficiency, and he also has really rapid moving thoughts. He likes to just type it all out as it comes, whereas I tend to, I like the writing process. It kind of builds my creativity and just allows me to personalize it a little bit more. I also think it's important to find the right frequency. So I really love to journal every day, and I notice that when I don't journal every day, I start feeling really low, I start feeling really out of touch with myself and a little bit disconnected. So journaling every day, especially at night, is great for me. I love journaling at night because it helps me process my day and to just go to bed with ease. Christian, on the other hand, he really likes to journal just once a week. He does not journal every day. He just uses the weekend, pulls out his computer, and uses just, an hour, 30 minutes to an hour of just journaling and really processing everything that's in there. So take time to find it. Some people love to journal in the morning and just, get everything out. Maybe you start with sharing what your dream was, and then you go into how you want your day to go and whatever feelings are going for you. So play with the frequency and know that this entire process is individualized. The second tip I have for you is to get to know your voice. Now, I think this is really important because, like I said, I felt really awkward when I first started this, and it can take some time to get to know your voice. And I want you to not be discouraged if you feel uncomfortable at first, or if you feel like what you're writing is boring or grammatically incorrect, or even politically incorrect. Like, I want you to just really get to know what's inside of you. And it might feel uncomfortable at first, but it will become more natural over time. So I think in order to do this, one thing you might want to do is you can use the framework of time. You might want to start with the past, so maybe you process through your day and talk about, not just what you did, but how did it actually make you feel going through that. You might talk about the present next and talk about how you're feeling in this moment. What are you dealing with? What are your emotions? What are you struggling with? What are you excited about? What are you proud of yourself for? And then you might want to move into the future and talk about what are your intentions? What are you looking forward to? What are you nervous about? What are you anxious about? For me, I find that this framework allows me to have some format, but it still allows me to personalize it and to really learn about myself and kind of what works for me. So you might find that you like this structure, or you might find that you like writing just in a stream of consciousness, and that you just like writing whatever comes to mind, and maybe you just set a timer and you just write whatever your thoughts are coming and going. And I think that the more that you practice this, the more naturally it will become. And, what I have found is that in my journaling practice, I do write a lot about, since I write every day, a lot of my journal entries are pretty repetitive. It's like, today I did this, today was a great day because this, today I felt sad because this. And I have a certain format that I follow, but because I'm in the practice of journaling and I know my voice, it makes it a lot easier to share the deeper issues or deeper questions or deeper feelings that come up for me, because it's not like I have this huge overhaul of like, oh my God, I need to share all of this at once, right? Like, I think if you have ever been in a new relationship, or maybe even meet a new friend, and there's so much to tell about yourself that you're just like overwhelmed. You're like, oh my God, where do I even begin with my story? Because there's just so much there, and you kind of share piece by piece, or maybe you word vomit and you share too much, and it can feel really uncomfortable, like knowing how much to share, what to hold back, what the timing is. And journaling can very much be the same, only that it's with yourself. And so I think that it's important that, maybe at first you do have a big overhaul and just kind of talk about everything. But again, keep in mind that the more you practice it, the more fluid it will become. And then you won't feel as like weird and uncomfortable and feel like there's a huge overhaul of sharing that you need to get down. So get to know your voice, take that time, be patient with yourself, and don't judge yourself. I think that's extremely important, is to not judge your voice and do not censor yourself. This is just for you. Nobody else has to read it. Nobody else will read it. And I just want you to take this time to just know that this is just time for you to get to know yourself and your internal world and your emotions, and just check in on yourself and care for yourself. I think that's so important. The third tip I have for you, and this will help in finding your voice and just kind of help guide you in what to write about if you're struggling with the finding your voice piece and what to write about or where to start, is to use journal prompts. Now, if you haven't already, I highly encourage you to download my Self-Love Starter Kit, which is full of activities to build unconditional self-love and to get to know yourself. And in the very beginning, you will see that I have 20 well thought out questions that are designed to help you get to know yourself. And they're also strategically designed from easiest to most challenging so that you can kind of ease into the process. You know, the first question is, what are your favorite physical attributes and why? Which is very easy. You know, you might say, oh, I love my eyes because they're so colorful. I love my hair because it's so long, whatever. But then it goes into harder questions. So there's one question towards the end in there about what are your top 5 values? And then it goes on to ask, well, what actions are you taking to align yourself with those values? What actions are you taking right now that aren't aligned with your values, and why? How is this preventing you from moving forward in your life? So again, you can see how those questions, those ending questions, take more than you just knowing your physical appearance. They really encourage you to dive deep and to pull out your internal working and your internal world and put it down onto paper, and that can make it feel a lot more real and more validated, and it allows you to be more honest with yourself about where you need to move forward. You know, I've also found that if I feel stagnant in my journal practice, maybe I already have a journal practice, I find that using journal prompts is a great way to do this. I've even worked through my Self-Love Starter Kit this last week and have really been encouraged, you know, not just in the initial questions, but in the end, there's a section called the 7-Day Self-Love Planner, which is 7 days of self-love. So there's a new activity every day, there's affirmations, a section to list your gratitudes, and there's a daily journal prompt. And again, these are deep questions. Things like, what is it that you want to contribute to the world? How do you want to leave this world? What legacy do you want to leave when you're gone? Again, these are deep questions, and they really help to get the juices flowing and really help to put things in perspective. So definitely use those journal prompts to your advantage. I'll post the link if you haven't already signed up for my Self-Love Starter Kit below for you to do that, or if you're watching on Instagram, the link is in my bio. You just have to go and join my VIP list, and you will get it delivered right to your inbox, and you can get going on those. Number 4, to get the most out of your journaling practice, I also recommend that you read past entries. So I find it very useful to go back every now and then and read some of my past entries to see where I was at, what was I dealing with, how did I work through it, what was my thought process, because this really helps me to identify what I have already worked through and be proud of those accomplishments, and also to recognize patterns like, okay, I had a bad day this day and then a good day this day, and I noticed there's a pattern of up and down and mood swings. Okay, maybe this is something that I need to address. Or maybe I'll notice if I'm having a bad day and I look back and I see that I've had a great string of great days, I'll notice, oh wow, I had these really good days. This is just a natural dip in my life. This isn't the end all be all. It's okay. And that can be really, really useful in building that self-knowledge and that self-awareness, because you have a unique perspective of going and visiting your past self with a new perspective. You know, you're not dealing with the same things that you were a week ago, and you're not having the same thoughts as you were a week ago. And so going in and seeing how you worked through that, and maybe you are dealing with it presently, but you have a new lens. You know, we're never the same person each day, and I think journaling really brings this to light. So definitely go back and read past entries to really gain more insight into yourself and to build that connection with yourself. The last tip I have for you, and this is the most practical tip, is to keep your journal within reach. So whether you are journaling in a physical journal like I have, or you are just using your computer and typing in Word or Google Docs, make sure that it is within reach. So I like to have my journal right by my bed. with a pencil ready to go right before I go to sleep. It's very easy. If you want to journal on your lunch hour, your lunch break, maybe you pack your journal in your purse, or maybe if you journal in the morning, you have it on your coffee table so that you can journal while you have some coffee. And really just make it as easy as possible on yourself. When we build our environment around us to support our goals, it makes it so much easier. You're not fighting against the stream. You're not fighting upstream, rather. So those are my tips for you. And again, journaling is a very powerful tool. It is one of the most powerful tools that you can incorporate into your life to increase your self-knowledge, self-awareness, self-trust, and to improve your state of well-being. So why not do it? Give it a shot, give it a go, play with it, have fun, individualize it, and remember these 5 tips. So, play with the medium and find the right frequency for you in your journal practice. Take time to get to know your voice and how you like to write. Don't censor yourself, don't judge yourself. 3, use journal prompts if you are having difficulty finding your voice and need some direction, or maybe you just want to dive deeper but aren't really sure what questions to ask yourself. 4, read past journal entries to gain insight into your inner workings and celebrate your wins of what you've overcome. And lastly, keep your journal within reach to make it really easy on yourself in developing this practice. I hope that these tips were super helpful for you, and I really look forward to seeing you next week on Wellness Wednesday. I would love for you to share with me what insight was most valuable to you, which tip you'd like to incorporate into your life, or if you have a journal practice already, let me know how you have benefited from journaling and how it's shaped your life. You can send me a personal message or send me a comment on Facebook or YouTube, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say. I hope you will have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will see you next week. Ciao!